So I've heard from many of you a common concern that, especially as leaders and CEOs, heads of organizations, that you're frustrated that your teams don't speak up. You always hear that people won't tell you what they really mean when you're their boss, or God forbid, their boss's boss, and that people don't have the courage to speak up. And I want to let you know that a lot of that's on you. And there's things that you can do about it to get your team not only to speak up, so you'll have better input, better buy-in, frankly, better decisions, but so you can make sure that you're hearing all the things you need to hear at the top of the organization. And the real trick is by asking different questions. Sounds simple, right? We've always known how to ask a question. It's something we've been doing since we were a little kid. But yet we haven't really been trained or taught the power of different questions, more appropriate, more powerful questions, particularly to get your senior team or others letting you know the real truth, what they really feel or mean. Let me give you an example. So a CEO that I was working with recently at the Monday afternoon meetings would always say, at the end of talking about the topic, say, "Hey, is everybody cool with this?" Seems like a question. He really does mean, do people support this or not? But what did people hear? They heard, CEO wants to do this. We better nod and say, sure, yes, boss. And that's what they do. And he'd come to me and say, gosh, no one ever speaks up. And I said, I wonder if it's because you've created a team of gutless wussies, or if maybe you've created an unsafe environment somehow, not even knowingly. And he kind of went, what do you mean? Of course not. But when we looked at that question, and I observed some of these team meetings, I saw that. So when you ask a question like that, it basically means say yes and go ahead, nod and move forward on this idea. Here's the thing you can do instead. Say, hey, this idea seems like it might have some compelling things to it, but what are the several concerns that people have in this room? I'd love to hear about those before we make any decisions. Hear the difference? Everyone cool with this? What are several concerns people have? When you say it that way, you actually are assuming there should be some concerns. You're making it safe, so people's brains are activating differently. You're also giving permission to say, oh, I really want to hear those concerns. So when you really mean, I want to hear what people really feel, ask this question. What concerns do people have? When you really want people just to lock hands and do what you want them to do, it's been discussed, you're ready to move on, fair enough to ask this question, just know that that's what you're doing. So simple tip, you can put it in practice immediately. You'll notice that the second question is open-ended. It puts towards the assumption of the thing that you want, which is what are those concerns, and then you pause and shut up. And if people don't speak up, what do? You go around the horn. You say, John, what do you think? Sarah, what concerns do you have? Just like that. And you keep doing that week over week. Next thing you know, people will do it automatically. But you as the leader have got to set the tone.